Hey everybody, welcome to week number 1. Introduction to information security. Let's see, we have Nicholas in the house. Welcome to the party, Nicholas. Thank you for joining today. Hopefully you can hear me. If you can, please
Yes,
let
I
me.
can.
Awesome! Yay! Cool. All right, so let's get this party started. All right, so where we at? Let's get to the beginning. Um, okay, so normally I like to start out with announcements, a quick introduction to myself, and find out a little bit about you. And since we have somebody on the line on in the session today, we're gonna put Nicholas on the spot, and maybe somebody else will chime in later as well. Anyway, my vision for information security, introduction to information security, I'll share that with you, and then get into a quick course overview. Excuse me. The main topics for this week are data security, user security, and application security. So we have a lot to cover, and you have a lot to explore for week 1. We'll give you some quick tips for success on week 1 as well. So yeah. All right. So announcements. Just a recommendation that you check out one.fullsail.edu. It's a great place to kind of figure out, keep up with what's going on at Full Sail, whether it's online events, campus events. Great way to network with other students who might not be in your degree. You know. Anyway, over to the right as well, I have some quick weekend notes. I like to encourage students to work ahead, think ahead, plan ahead. I love early bird achiever students. Yeah, so the reason why we encourage you to start early is not just, just to give you something extra to do and think about, right? The reason why we encourage you to think ahead of time, plan ahead of time, is so that we can answer questions before the weekend. And so, there's limited availability for some of us on the weekend. There are definitely lab instructors available during the weekend. I might not be as available during the weekend, but we want you to ask questions as early as possible. All right, so a little bit about me. I am Fia. You can call me Fia, Miss Felicia, Miss O'Loughlin. Any one of those 3 names is totally fine. I am originally from Indianapolis, Indiana, the Hoosier State, and one of 14 brothers and sisters, wife, mom of 2. Yeah, totally went in the opposite direction of my parents. Didn't want to have that many kids. Not, yeah, not for me. All right, so my education and experience. I have over 15 years of experience in the information technology field, approaching 20 real soon. But you can check out LinkedIn.com to find out exactly what I've been up to in the last 15, 20 years. I graduated from Purdue University and then went straight to get my master's while working for Lockheed Martin, while having a family, working full time, going to school full time. It can be done. Um, and then I moved on to Walt Disney World. I've taught for a variety of educational institutions, and I have been with Full Sail for a good 8 years so far. Um, Industry projects. I am a freelancer. I run a consulting company with my hubby, and yeah, all the technology that I've played with over the years. Some of it is listed here as the major points of DevOps history. Let's see what else. Hobbies. I love riding motorcycles. So I'm still a newbie because I don't ride every day, but I love riding motorcycles. Um, let's see, love camping on the beach. I love singing. I love musical theater and acting when I get a chance. And that's pretty much a snapshot of who I am. Just a quick picture of my ride when I'm not driving the regular car. I am riding, you know, just, shooting the breeze and letting my hair flow, letting some stress, shaking off some stress, I should say. But yeah, like I said, I'm still a newbie. I've only been riding for 5 years, and love it, love it, love it. One day I'm going to get me a Hayabusa because I'm getting bored with the power that this thing can put out. It's only got 700 cc's, so yeah, not a lot. Okay, so let's find out about Nicholas. Real quickly, like just tell us where you're from, which degree you're going for, IT, cloud, cyber, any real world experience that you'd like to share. Excuse me. Um,
I'm from the. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
oh no no no, go ahead. It sounds like you're ready. Go for it.
I'm from. I live in Dahlonega, Georgia. Land of
Okay.
the gold.
You said land of the
Gold. Like,
gold. I didn't know
yeah,
Georgia was the land
gold.
of gold. GOLD.
Yeah, like, yeah. Dahlonega was one of the places where it was founded in 18 something. I
Okay, I did not know Georgia was known for that. Learn something new
don't
every
know.
day. Thank you.
Yeah. um, I am going for my. Right now, I'm going for information technology, but then I'm coming back to get my cyber security degree.
Oh wow. Okay. Cool. So you're gonna do both.
And
You're gonna do both degrees eventually.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna complete my certificate in in information technology, and I'm coming back to get I guess, my associate's degree for that particular one, I guess, and I'm gonna move on to my bachelor's degree.
Nice. I like that plan.
Thank you. And I have some experience in IT. I've been dabbling off and on for the last eight, 18 years, something like that. And I love doing research. I mean, I learn how to take Macs apart. I build my own computers. I mean, just
Wow.
different things.
Yeah. That takes skill. Taking a computer apart and putting it back together. I know some people who
Especially
can
a
do that,
Mac.
but what'd you say?
Especially a Mac.
Yeah. Yeah. Macs are a little different. Yeah. Definitely. Okay. So what about your dream job?
I'm doing it.
You're doing it already?
Yeah.
As a freelancer, or are you working for a company?
Oh no, I'm an entrepreneur.
Awesome. Okay, so you are freelancing. What are your services that you offer?
I I actually own 3 different companies. I just opened up a new division, and I'm launching at least 4 to 5 different services in the next 5 to 10 years.
Oh, that's beautiful. So all three companies are in the infotech or IT industry.
Oh no, no! My first company is entertainment. My
Okay.
second company is kind of like entertainment, but it's more narrowed down. So it's a record label.
Oh, cool.
Um,
Okay.
And the third company I just opened up, it's going to be under different divisions. But the third company I'm opening up is a media company that will host, my web development,
Mm-hmm.
social media platform, bank,
Right.
all of that.
Yeah. Nice. That keeps you busy, right? In addition to going to school full time.
Yes. Plus,
Yes.
on top of that, I'm working on my upcoming album. So I'm very very busy.
Oh, you sing too? Are you
Yes.
awesome? That is great. I'm a fellow singer too, so I love connecting with other singers. That's awesome. Yeah. So keep us posted on your record, your upcoming project. I would love to hear it one day.
Okay.
All right. So and then the word hacker. What do you think about that word?
And like in which way? Because there's so many different ways I could go with it.
Well, you have so much experience. So just on a basic level, if you were explaining to a family member who never, well, most people have heard of the word hacker, but if you were trying to tell a little kid what a hacker was, I guess, what would you say to that little kid?
I would say a hacker is someone who wants to gain access to your system and to get money from you to gain access to your information.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. All of that and more. Yes, I love that definition. Um, Simple to understand, and yeah, obviously on some in simple terms. But I mean, there's a much more complicated way we can explain it. But that's awesome. What about? And you don't have to give me details on this, but most I ask this because I like to bring awareness to the fact that most people either have been hacked at least once in their lifetime, or they know somebody who's been hacked. And you don't have to give details. It's just general conversation. For example, I've been hacked before, 3 times in a row in the span of 1 year until I kind of tighten up my own security. So, how about you? Just in general.
I've been hacked several different times. I actually have fell for like 2 to 3 different scams, like get rich quick and different and another scam I fall for. I didn't mean to. I didn't know it was a scam
Mm-hmm.
where they say, "Oh, we give you so much money, and we just need access to your bank account information," and
Oh
they would put
yeah.
money in there. And I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it went as far as it went as far as I literally had to go to bank and shut down just different things so they wouldn't
Yeah.
have access to it.
Yeah.
That's why I'm actually glad I'm in the cybersecurity because one, so I can help people, and two, I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna be opening my own bank and my own merchant service. So I like to help people.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. So, and it's interesting that you say, the whole scam thing where, people want to promise you lots of money. I think most people are vulnerable to that, right? They're like, oh my God, I could win or I could gain this amount of money if I just do this little simple step. And it ends up turning into a big, whew, a deep, deep, deep black hole, for lack of a
Yeah,
better word.
not a lot of people know this, but actually, there's a lot of dating scams out there.
Oh,
I've been doing a lot
okay.
of research, and actually, the reason why I brought that up is I actually opened up my own dating service, but I quickly shut it down because there was a lot of scams. If you actually type in dating scams on Google,
Uh huh.
it will bring up a lot of things. But one of the things it will bring up is a warning from the FTC. I mean, from the I think the FTC or someone
Yeah.
from the government saying that you need to stay away from it.
Yeah, no, I have seen on like Dateline, for example, TV station, CNN, uh, whatever news channel I'm watching. I've seen like little documentaries on that type of stuff, and I'm like, oh my God, this is really happening. So yeah, no, I believe you. The dating scams are, especially with the online platforms that are out there, it's so
Yeah,
easy for somebody to take advantage. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. Absolutely,
you're welcome.
good, good, good conversation and collaboration on that. Good job to you for being the only one here and just answering so freely and naturally. I love your approach at speaking. Okay, so you're going to get a lot more opportunities to collaborate with students that are in the class. I actually have 2 different sections of this class, and so you'll get at least a good 20 students, 15, 20 students to talk with about your opinions in terms of the different topics we're going to cover over the next several or what 3 4 weeks. Yeah. So one of the things I like to encourage students to do is you said you like research. This is a big research class. There is a lot of writing, and so I know that can be a little tedious sometimes, but that is part of the information security, the IT industry. I would say, technology changes so much that research is absolutely reading, writing up reports for your boss, and you're an entrepreneur, so you have to do it for yourself. But or you can have a consultant come in and talk to you about it. But yeah, yeah, this class is a great intro to that type of activity. All right, so my vision for introduction to information security is to basically help you get familiar with as many security frameworks, as many security concepts, cybersecurity concepts as I can. And obviously, 4 weeks is not a long time to talk about this kind of stuff. I mean, if I had everybody online right now, like if I had everybody in this session right now, the conversations would go on for hours because there's just so many things that are affecting people in terms of cybersecurity and their personal identity. Um, but one of the things that I do like about teaching this class is I get a chance to reward hard work. I get a chance to give out something that's called a course director award. Have you heard of that? CDA, course director award?
No.
Okay. All right. So that's totally fine. Basically, what happens is, let's say you're about to graduate with your certificate or your associate's degree or your bachelor's degree, whichever stage you're at, right? Let's say you come to Full Sail campus and you're walking across the stage and they call your name and they say Nicholas Rupert is graduating with such and such a degree or a certificate, and we have an instructor who has given him a course director award. So they will announce it as part of your graduation. So you'll have to wait to graduation to get it, but you'll know about it before graduation gets here. Because I'll usually let students know if they are receiving a recipient of the CDA award. So yeah, it's just our way of giving you props and rewarding your hard work. So definitely we are looking for students who go above and beyond with the way that they present their work, the way that they present their research. I've had students work 2 to 3 weeks, maybe I would say 2 weeks ahead of time, presenting their works with excellence and high quality and spell checking, and they're professional in the way that they present it. They go above and beyond what's asked on the rubric, for example. That's the general rubric that I might post on FSO. All right, so course overview. By now, everybody knows, even those of you who are watching after the fact, this archive, you know that our lectures are on Thursdays at 3 p.m. So if you didn't make it today, that's totally fine. I will look for you, or me and Nicholas will look for you next week. All right. So what are we going to cover in this class? All kinds of stuff. Again, I mentioned earlier that we only have 4 weeks, but we're going to try to include as much content as possible, including encryption standards, network security concepts, operating system hardening techniques, risk management strategies, and then understanding what regulatory compliance requirements are out there and how to be aware of that in terms of the organizations you might go work for. Let's see. Textbook wise, there is SYO 501, which is the old version of the textbook. We list it on FSO because a lot of our quizzes are based on that version of the textbook, the CompTIA Security Plus. So the 501 version is the one you want to use for the quizzes, but the 601 is the newer version. So if you want to compare and contrast some of the differences, we give you access to both of them on O'Reilly books, and you should be able to get to that if you have your username and password all set with O'Reilly through Full Sail. If not, contact support, Full Sail support, and you should be able to get that squared away. All right, yeah. So ebooks.fullsail.edu should lead you to it. If that is that should be the correct URL for you to go ahead and log in. And again, you can use both versions. All right. You should also know that this course is unique in that if you fail it twice, it's called a two-strike class. So if you fail this class twice, then usually what happens is we recommend that you pick another degree, or there's a process for that. But basically, you only get 2 chances at this class. So don't squander away the first one, because you want to be sure you pass it on the second go round, if that's necessary. Because sometimes things happen in people's lives personally, and they're not able to finish the course, and they fail for whatever reason. and have to come back and take it again. All right, so the weekly breakdown, I'd like to encourage students to go ahead and download the course syllabus. You never know when your own internet is going to be down, right? And if you've downloaded the syllabus and you're curious as to what topics we were going to cover and you want to start your research, but your internet is down, then you can at least open up the syllabus and see, okay, here's what's coming. Maybe I can go to the library, whatever, and figure out how to make that work. Um, let's see what else. And then sometimes FSO is down, right? So you might not get to FSO right away. And so having that syllabus available is super helpful. In terms of how your grade is going to be broken down, all right, so everybody knows GPS is 10%, right? Your professionalism, being on time with your submissions, all that good stuff. Labs are usually about 35%. There are quite a few lab assignments. Usually they're accompanied with write-ups. Homework, 40%. That includes quizzes. And then the week 4 presentation, you get a chance to shine at the end and really show, okay, you can tell me which topic you were the most passionate about. This is your chance to really say, hey, Miss Fia, I learned a lot about, multi-factor authentication or two-factor authentication, and I want to really, really show my stuff in terms of what I learned and how I think the industry should move forward. But it's 15% of your grade. It has to be a video recording with slides included, with audio included. And you will hear me remind you throughout the course constantly, please don't wait till week 4 to think about your topic. Start thinking now, because guess what? I'm going to cover, probably 5 or 6 topics today, and then another 5 or 6 topics next week, and then another 5 or 6 topics in week 3. But I would say by week 3, you should know what your topic is going to be. Okay, even though week 4 might bring up some interesting regulatory compliance topics, there's plenty of topics before that for you to go ahead and pick and get started. All right, and then the course late policy has changed a little bit. If you've taken other courses in the information technology or cyber security degrees, it has changed a little bit in that you only have 48 hours after the due date to turn in late work. Now, guess what? If you contact me and you say, hey, Miss Fia, I'm running late on this assignment because I had to put in extra hours at work, or my family situation has changed and I need to attend to certain things. If you let me know in writing, of course, before the due date, I can waive that 10% penalty that you get if you don't say anything. All right, so contact me. I'm willing to work with you. I'm flexible. But if I don't hear from you, I have to automatically take off 10%. All right. So tips for success. I encourage all of my students to work ahead, plan ahead, communicate ahead. Please don't wait till the due date to start asking questions. It's going to help you feel less stressed, less overwhelmed. I don't want you to feel overwhelmed. I don't want you to, going to school and working is already stressful enough, right? So we don't need to make it worse than it is. So if you communicate and help me help you, then we can get through this nice and smooth. Again, we already know about the professionalism chart. You've probably seen this, I don't know how many times by now in your academic career at Full Sail. But I do like to reemphasize avoiding plagiarism. It's not worth it. I will, have to fail students if they do it. I don't have a problem doing that, but I don't want to have to, because it's not worth it, right? It's not worth it for you to fail an assignment, or if worse, fail this course, right? So do your own work, be original in how you present your work, and most of all, present your sources. If you have references, if you write, for example, there's a 2-page paper that's due in week 3. Cite your references if you want to use, a website as a source of information. Okay, there's nothing wrong with sharing what you learned from a particular source. Okay, that is part of your professionalism, and that is in the real world. That's what is expected as well of a professional. Let's see. By now, you should know how to contact me. If you have uh, trouble reaching me, usually I'm back. I reply back within 24 hours, but sometimes you might get a response from me up to 36 hours. If you don't get an answer right away, within, I would say, 24 hours, definitely you can reach out to the lab instructors as well if you have general questions. We have a whole team of people. Teamwork makes the dream work. We have a whole team of people here waiting and willing to help you. All right. How we doing with the sound, Nicholas? Can you still hear me?
You sound choppy.
Choppy, you said?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. How long has that been going on?
Really, ever since you started talking, I just didn't say nothing because,
Oh, what are you supposed to tell me?
well, the way I look at it is, I mean, yeah, sorry.
No, you're fine.
Yeah.
You're fine.
I don't know why it sounds choppy. I don't know if it's on my end or.
Oh, okay. I got you. I got you. You sound just fine. So how about now? As I'm talking now, do I sound choppy?
As of right now, no.
So maybe I'm just talking too fast. All right, so I'm gonna try and slow down a little bit. I'm trying to keep this recording. The good news is that I'm trying to keep it to an hour, but also I'm recording to Zoom as well as on my own private machine. So what this is gonna do is make sure that whatever I post on FSO, it won't sound choppy. So thanks for letting me know. I appreciate it. I'm glad I checked in. All right. Okay, so let's just get through the overview for week one. I said earlier that we were going to talk about data security, user security, app security. Um, and I tell you what, can you? I don't know if it'll help. Um, no, you know what? Because you're not talking, so it shouldn't matter. I'm trying to think of ways to make it sound less choppy. If it gets overwhelmingly choppy, let me know, okay?
Okay.
All right. So, the first topic or subtopic is going to be online safety and phishing. Have you heard of phishing, Nicholas?
All too well.
Yeah. So we were just talking about the scams and the things we go through. One of the things I like to bring to students' awareness that are not as experienced with being hacked is online user behavior is the number one risk when it comes to information security, safety awareness, online safety awareness. Um, so a lot of people think, well, I stop before I download, and I stop and I think before I click, and it's not even that simple anymore. You have to go above and beyond that, right? Um, the risks that are involved, and we've already talked about some of those things that we can go through. Why is it so important? Because you have less privacy. By not being aware and staying aware and paying attention, you end up with less privacy in your life. You end up with tons of phishing scams, malware all over your machine, compromised passwords. Companies at the corporate level, all of their policies are failing, right? Because they're not making their employees aware, or they're not making their users, their clients aware of how they can protect themselves. Nowadays, most companies actually warn you on their website how to protect yourself as a client, as a customer of theirs. They give you advice because they understand this fact that online user behavior is the number one risk when it comes to compromised information security. Okay, so let's see. Did we skip anything? I just want to make sure I didn't skip anything. All right, so phishing. We were talking about what is phishing and how many scams come through email. It is a type of social engineering where an attacker sends a fraudulent message. And, usually we think of it as email, but I like to throw in text messages as well because I get text messages all the time. Phishing type text messages that are not related to anything. They have no reason to be contacting me, but they pretend to know me, right? Or it's a company that's pretending they happen to know that my phone is AT&T as a character, a carrier, And so I might get a phishing text message saying, "Hey, you paid your bill. Congratulations. Click this link for a quick gift. We're going to give you a quick gift for paying your bill." And it's like, really? I don't. So, anyway, you can see it in the preview as you're reading the text messages, but I just kind of swipe and delete because it's just the goal is for them to trick you, and that's what we have here on the screen. It's designed to trick a human victim into revealing sensitive information, and they're super motivated, so that they can get malicious software on your phone, get malicious software on your laptops, your desktops, all that good stuff. All right, so real. I'm having a tongue twister. Real world examples. So, back in 2020, Full Sail got a few phishing scams, real ones that came through. The first one, I caught it right away because I noticed the typo in the way that Gary Jones spells his name. I think most people know how he spells his name. If you've worked here for any amount of time, you know that Gary, spells his name with two R's. And so this particular email came through with one R. And I was like, that's a big mistake. Like, how are they doing that? Because I know his email address, you can't just change his name that quickly. So it got my attention because of that. And then I started to read through the message, and there were like 3 or 4 more typos in the first paragraph. And I was like, something is wrong with this. And of course, it's in the preview. It's not like I actually opened it. The email kind of shows you a preview of it, and I just deleted it because I'm just like, this can't be real. So I just deleted it and sent it to trash. And then later on I think it was the next day or the same day, we got an email from IMT saying, alert, there's a phishing attempt. Please delete it, don't open it, all that good stuff. And of course, I had already done that. But as you start to see more and more of these phishing emails, if you're not familiar with it, you'll get familiar with it because you'll know the signs to look for. Typos are a big one. And then looking at the email address and making sure, okay, is this coming from the right email address in relation to the company name that they're using in the body of the email? Another one came through, I don't know if, I'm pretty sure that this went out to multiple universities, local universities here. And so it was a pet sitting walker message, and it was sent to Full Sail, sent through Full Sail. And, I know that kind of stuff is not allowed in our emails. So right away, there was an alert for me. You'll get a chance, though, for week number 1 assignments to actually take a phishing quiz. And that's a good way to get familiar with like basic phishing alerts or red flags, I should say. Red flags to look for when you're looking at a phishing email. All right, so real world examples in terms of phishing scams. If you're into crypto, I am. I'm pretty new at it, but I've learned a lot of it because it requires you to learn a lot of in order to protect yourself. Because there's so many scams out there in relation to cryptocurrency. And so one of the things that I learned early on is that if you don't own your keys, if your keys to your crypto are not stored somewhere where only you know what they are, then you don't own your crypto. So being on a crypto exchange like Coinbase or Binance.us, all of these are nice crypto exchanges that you can start with, like if you just want to get into the market. And I am by no means a financial advisor. I'm only going to share my personal experience. But I learned that you have to get a hardware wallet because that is the only way to truly own your keys to your crypto. So the Coinbase and the Binance, it's great to start out with, but technically they own your crypto because they have your keys. They're not necessarily, and I would say just recently Coinbase went down, but they also started giving people access to their keys. So that's a good thing. But then, with them going down, That's another issue. Ledger Nano is actually one of the companies that I looked into as far as storing my crypto keys, and there was a scam just the same year that I bought it, and thank goodness the scam wasn't like major. It was just like it was publicized that basically some email addresses got stolen, not that crypto actually got stolen. But what happened was because these hackers got the email addresses to all of the Ledger Nano owners. Ledger Nano is something you can buy on Amazon, just a hardware wallet. But they got the email addresses and started marketing phishing scams to all of the Ledger Nano wallet owners. And so some of the owners, you know, didn't pay attention to the what Ledger Nano told them in the first place, which is when you buy one of these devices, you cannot give away your 24 words. You cannot give away it's like the keys to your safe. And so, regardless of that message that is reiterated throughout the Ledger Nano website, some people did give away their 24 words and lost their crypto. But that's an example of how user error or user awareness could make a difference in terms of safety and information security safety. Mattel is a toy maker of Barbie and Hot Wheels, and they went and lost, $3 million back in 2016. I know it seems like a long time ago, but basically they brought in a new CEO. The old one left, and China knew about it. Basically sent them an invoice for $3 million, and the CEO did the right thing. He, went in and checked with the rest of his board or team or whatever to make sure, he was supposed to pay the invoice. But what happened was they didn't check enough to make sure that the invoice was legit. And so what happened is they ended up transferring the $3 million to the actual hackers. And the only thing that saved them is that this process was happening on a holiday weekend. And so you know how you have a Monday as a weekend. Well, what happened was when they realized, oh my God, we just paid the wrong people $3 million, they were able to go to the authorities and stop it. Basically, get the money back because of the holiday extra. The extra time that it takes for money to transfer. It transferred, but then they were able to get it back before the hackers could actually use it. So that's a good thing. But think about how many companies don't actually get that chance. They don't get that extra holiday to fix their mistake. And that's what hackers are banking on. They're banking on the right timing. They're banking on you not paying attention during the holiday. They're banking on you not paying attention, for whatever reason, so that they can get what they need to get before you can recover from the situation. So phishing awareness is super important. A lot of times you'll get sense of urgency messages. For example, if my bank were to send me a message saying, "Hey, Miss Fia, we noticed some inappropriate activity happening with your, or some unusual activity happening with your account. We need you to fill out this form really quickly. Give us your information, and so we can make sure that it's you." Well, okay, first of all, let's slow down. My bank doesn't do that. I don't think any bank does that. My bank will call me, or, yeah, that's about all they're going to do. If they give me some kind of a voicemail that says, "Hey, please call us back." But they're not going to send me a message asking me to fill out a form to give them information that they should already have. So this requires, on some level, some critical thinking, some user awareness, but also some critical thinking. Don't panic when some message comes through and it seems like it's the end of the world if you don't get to it right away. Think through it, kind of come up with a plan, and obviously you want to follow through, but not so quickly that you make a mistake. All right. Analytical questions that we should ask, even as an information security professional. If you're working for an organization, for yourself, or for another organization, these are questions you're going to have to ask. How does this particular attack that I've just gone through, impact information security at this organization? What should be done moving forward? How can we recover from it? How can we protect our systems in the future? These are all questions you're, even if as a consultant, let's say you're a freelance consultant for a third party company, these are questions that you need to bring up in those meetings as considerations. All right. Not all emails can be blocked by firewalls, right? So just training and making people aware is one of the best ways to avoid phishing scams. All right, CIA triad and defense in depth. These are two of the foundational principles that we're going to be studying for the next 3 to 4 weeks. The CIA triad is all about confidentiality, integrity, and availability. It's a best practice, industry best practice. Basically, it's one of those things where we're encouraging you to always be validating, always be trying to prevent unauthorized and theft type activity. Maintaining your current systems online, making sure they're performing well, right? Making sure they're updated, making sure the patches are happening on a regular basis, all that good stuff. And so this is something that we're going to be referring to a lot. So go ahead and memorize the CIA triad. We don't mean CIA as in government, right? But confidentiality, integrity, availability, these are things we want to focus on. I put this next slide in here. It's called the Wawa gas station data breach, because I actually went through this one day. I was pumping my gas at the gas station, and I'm thinking it's just a normal day, right? I'm pumping my gas, and the music is on. The advertisement is on the little screen display saying, hey, come buy our sandwiches. Hey, come try our drinks. And I'm ignoring it like I always do, because, usually I'm in a hurry to pump my gas and leave. And so I just happened to glance at the screen. I glanced at the screen a couple of times, and I think probably like the third time I looked at it, I noticed just a black and white, like the video part of it had stopped. It was just black and white text, a long black and white text message. And I was like, what the heck? Because the music is still playing, right? The happy music, is still playing. It's still advertising whatever products they have inside Wawa, inside the store. But as I'm reading the text on the screen, it says data breach. And it goes on to talk about how, something happened with their point of sale system, and how, you have until a certain amount of time to contact them. And I'm thinking, what is this real? Because again, the music is super happy, the text is just there, and I'm just like, how would anybody notice that unless they just happen to look at the screen like I did? And obviously, if the music had stopped, I think more people would notice it, and you're at a gas station, right? So they want to make sure they still get that sale from you. So I can see why they weren't trying to make it totally obvious, but it was just shocking for me, because I'm just like, okay, let me get back in my car and look this up. So as soon as I looked it up, sure enough, it had happened back in 2019. Wawa agreed to pay $9 million as part of a settlement in a lawsuit over the data breach, due to the whole cyber criminal attack. And so from March 4th to March of 2019 to December of 2019 is when all this was happening. And you had until November of last year to go ahead and claim, any kind of, if you want to sue them, or you want to claim any kind of benefit from the lawsuit, then you would have to have contacted them as of November last year. But I threw this in here because I was just like, oh my God, they're not, going above and beyond in the way that they're communicating with people. To me, it's a big deal. It should be like really publicized, but of course that would affect their sales. And we know, sometimes, yeah, that's what companies do to protect themselves. All right, so defense in depth. This is another foundational principle that you're going to be studying over the next 2 to 3 weeks, 4 weeks, right? It is a layered security approach. So you have this big circle on my right side, on the right side of my screen, and the middle of it is your data. The bull's eye is your data. It's right in the center. And so you see how it's kind of flowing from your data to data backup to disaster recovery to anti-malware to firewalls to email security and filtering, wireless security. All these are layers of security that you can use to protect your data, the bullseye, right? So when I think about my motorcycle, just in an everyday scenario, if I'm trying to, I like my motorcycle, I want a new motorcycle, but I don't want my old motorcycle stolen. So what am I going to do? I'm going to try a layered approach whenever I'm trying to protect it. I'm not just going to lock the front wheel. I'm not just going to make sure there's a camera of some sort looking at it or park it in the light, if I'm in a dark place. I'm going to make sure I, cover it up when I can. I'm going to make sure there's some type of an alarm. Those are all ideas, right, that I could use to protect my motorcycle if I don't want it stolen. And that's what we mean by layered approach. Don't just have one thing that you're using. Have a fail safe, because if one approach or one layer fails, one layer of security fails, you want to make sure there's a second security layer in place so that you don't, easily get your stuff taken advantage of because you didn't follow through with multiple approaches. Okay, and so that's what defense in depth is. You're going to be we're going to be thinking about that in terms of user education, application updates, and patching security policies across the board. All right, so physical is a layer, logical is a layer, administrative is a layer. There's a mixture of controls that we should use when we're trying to protect our data. All right, password strength. So you'll get a chance to play with this as well in week 1 for your homework. And I know that sometimes it can get totally annoying because I know sometimes when I'm logging into my Google accounts, right away when I try to log in, it'll say, hey, is this you? Or my phone will say, is this you? And so I'm like, okay, where's my phone? I got to go run and get my phone because I have 2-factor authentication turned on. So I got to go run and get my phone and say, yes, it's me. And then I got to turn around and say, which number do I see on my screen? Does it match my phone? To make sure that, and I realize that Google is doing due diligence, right? They're doing what I asked them to do, which is keep my accounts protected. And so as annoying as it is sometimes to have, complex passwords, like I like the passwords that I come up with. Why do I have to come up with like 2 or 3 more? Well, because they're easier to crack the more you use them, right? And so we're going to talk about hashing and how we can protect, we can create unique passwords. We're going to talk about salting and how we can make them even more complex, because the truth is a complex password, a long password is better, right, than anything else you could put in place. And obviously we have security questions. My bank, they'll ask me 5 questions, 2 or 3 questions before they even let me log in. And then they'll also do 2-factor authentication. And that's because, why is that happening? Because I asked them to. I asked them to do that because I've been hacked before. And so I've learned to, just get used to it, as annoying as it might be. So when we say create complex passwords with LastPass, we're giving you exposure to that, okay? So have fun with that activity. LastPass is the application you're going to be downloaded on your phone, or you can also use other devices. But we're going to walk you through an exercise where you create a strong password, you create a weak password, and you see the difference in how fast one password can be hacked over another, okay? And so that's going to bring some awareness to you and allow you to see why it's so important to use a password manager, but also why it's important to have really good passwords that can't be decrypted so easily. All right, alternative environments. So we love the Internet of Things, don't we? I have a car that you can park that will park itself, actually, if I give it permission to. And it's a nice feature, and I was super impressed when I first got it. But the more you think about it, you think about smart refrigerators and smart cars and smartphones and smart tablets and smart generators and vacuum cleaners and TVs. It's great when it's convenient, right? It's convenient to have those features as part of the Internet of Things devices. They're super nice to have, right? But if you really think about it, the smarter they are, the more hackable they are. So my car, which can park itself if I give it permission, that means somebody's got access to that software somewhere, right? So that means it's hackable. A smart home, a smart refrigerator, somebody's got access to that software somewhere. So it's hackable. All right. So just keep this in mind that as convenient as it is with these alternative environments, we as information security specialists have to be on top of our game in terms of how we protect the data that's being stored on these devices. Okay. Controls and techniques. There are lots of controls and techniques, and I love this portion of the lecture because you do not have to know everything. I don't have to know everything, and the truth is, no one person can know everything, right? We can do our best to follow the best practices, the industry best practices, but at the end of the day, there are organizations out there that are already documenting the most common vulnerabilities, the most common hacking scenarios, the most common techniques that you can use to protect the organization that you're working for as well as your own personal data. All right, so you're going to be looking at SANS Top 20. You're going to be looking at DISA, which is an organization that creates documents called STIGs. Okay, these documents are super helpful for a company like Lockheed Martin or Walt Disney World that's trying to protect their data. Instead of the information security specialists that work for those companies having to know it all, they can just reach out to these organizations like OWASP, which stands for Open Web App Security Project. Great for programmers, great for database administrators who want to avoid SQL injection in their web applications that are hosted online. So you don't have to know it all, and you don't have to start from scratch. So that's a beautiful thing. This is why we're introducing you to DISA. This is why we're introducing you to SANS. All right. And so you're going to find out about these organizations. You're going to research them. You're going to do some write-ups so that you can become familiar and you're able to articulate what is available out there. All right, so one example is for the OS hardening, operating system hardening. Why would you want to harden your operating system? Well, data has become king and queen, okay? Your device, your hardware is no longer important. All right, it's important, but not as important as your data. Because if your data is backed up somewhere, you can always replace the hardware. You cannot always necessarily replace the data, especially if you don't have it backed up, right? So OS hardening is one of those best practices where you act. It's the act of configuring an operating system securely, updating it, creating certain rules and policies to make sure it can't be hacked, right? But if it does get hacked, you should have some backup plans like the defense in depth, right? Layered security. Lock out the person who gets access to your laptop, who steals your laptop, right? Maybe you remotely can wipe it because you have a backup somewhere. You can remotely wipe it, and if they're after your data, then they've lost. If they just wanted the hardware, you can replace that. Tracking software, you can put that on your devices now. Encrypting the data is another way of protecting the most valuable part, right, which is the data, not the hardware. Okay, so I think, let's see, do we have anything else? Yeah, so data security best practices, again, this just goes in line with all the other organizations that I've mentioned so far. You're going to be studying, how to store data, what techniques to use for protecting that data. And especially because one common mistake is that many people think, oh, it's in the cloud. my data is in the cloud, right? It sounds so good to say that, but the truth is it doesn't mean that your data is safe just because it's in the cloud. What makes your data safe are the techniques and the controls that you have around the data, the policies that are around the data, the company that is hosting your data. How do they handle data security? That's really what makes your data safe. It can just be in the cloud with anybody. But if the protection is not there, the encryption is not there, the framework for, say, the best practice of the CIA triad, the AAA model, if those aren't best practices for that company, guess what? Your data might just be getting shared all day long. So just because it's in the cloud does not mean it's safe. Okay, we need hashing, we need sharding, we need parameterization. These are all techniques that you're going to study just in general, so you understand the concepts of how to protect data, other than just putting the password on something. Okay. All right, hopefully that wasn't too choppy. We're going to segue into our next part of the lecture and talk about homework now. Just really quickly, you're going to have about 4 homework assignments that are due by Monday. The first one is you get to play with LastPass. Okay, you get to share your experience with LastPass, Password Manager, and then you're going to play with a website called How Secure Is My Password.net. Okay, and you'll screenshot the results and show us what you got. You'll also play with a website called MD5 Hash Generator to see how quickly, is it to break a strong password versus a weak password. And then there's sonicwall.com, which has a phishing IQ test. It's a great way to get familiar with phishing if you've never heard of it. And then haveibeenpwned.com. That's another site that you can check your emails with to see if you've been compromised, or if if somebody has your email and they're using it in a way that's detrimental to your own identity and information security. All right. A discussion. So we talked about SANS, which is one of the top organizations that you're going to be studying. SANS stands for Sysadmin Audit Network and Security. They support the Center for Internet Security, and you're going to be researching the top 20, and actually it's only 18, but you're going to be researching the top 20 controls that impact system security. And you're going to be talking about why they impact these systems the most. So use your critical thinking skills, use your writing skills, okay, and present your best work with when you're collaborating with other students, okay. Patch, harden, and protect. Okay, so this is another best practice that comes from the Center for Internet Security. All right, from Microsoft's website is going to expose you to the CIS controls and the CIS benchmarks for Windows 10 and Red Hat Linux. Okay, and so you'll answer some questions. And for those of you who don't like writing, start early. Okay, take your time, start early. The best way to get the most credit for this assignment is to answer every question with at least 2 sentences. Provide your references, check your spelling, your grammar, all that good stuff, and you should be good to go. All right, and then last but not least, you have a quiz on Chapter 12. All right, and 10 questions should be super easy because you have an open textbook, resource available to you. And that's pretty much it. You can get 2 attempts on the quiz. So if you don't like your first score, guess what? You get to take it again. All right. So again, don't forget to think about your research topic for week 4. What am I going to do my 10-minute video on in week 4? How am I going to, present my best work, or my best self, and what I've learned in this class. All right, and that's pretty much it. I want to encourage you to use personal time management. Don't let time get away from you, okay? Plan ahead. Take some notes on when you want to complete your homework assignments. And yeah, give your brain enough time to get through all the videos. I know sometimes we see videos on FSO and we're just like, oh, I'm just gonna breeze right through this. Well, if you allow your brain enough time to listen and take notes, you'll learn so much more, and your brain will thank you for it indirectly. Okay, so again, personal time management is the key to absorbing as much information as possible. And with that, I'm going to say thank you, thank you, thank you to Nicholas for hanging out with me.
I have a couple of questions.
Yeah, sure.
All right. My first question is, how many for the assignment 1.6 I believe it is.
Okay.
How many screenshots do we need to take?
Let's see. Let's see. 1.6, Lab 1 on user security. So you got, let's see, we got, I think when I'm grading, I look for at least 9 screenshots. So I'm looking for 9 screenshots because there's 8 tasks, steps, but there's a step where there's multiple. Like for example, task 5, number 5 says create an MD5 hash of the strong password and the weak password. So I'm looking for you to show me what happened with the strong password and the weak password. So that's 2 screenshots in one step, right?
Okay.
So it'll be, as long as you have a total of 9 screenshots, you should be good to go.
Alright, and do we have to zip them up or put in a folder, or do we just upload them? Because when I'm just asking because I know in previous classes I can only upload one document or one picture at a time.
Okay, yeah, that's a good question. Microsoft Word is what I prefer. I think I listed that on FSO. If I didn't, I'll make sure I check that. But Microsoft Word, I would just copy, paste, or insert the screenshots after you take them into Microsoft Word, and then just upload that one document. Because it can be kind of crazy to keep up with 9 screenshots from every single student if they're not in one document. So that'll help me a lot. Yeah.
Alright, and alright, so 9 screenshots and the lab write-up.
The lab write-up for where we ask you to write a paragraph on what you learned from each of the previous steps. You can put that in the Microsoft Word document as well. And as long as you give a paragraph, I consider a paragraph 2 to 3 sentences at least, but you can definitely give me more than that. So that's one of those examples where you can go above and beyond. It's like, okay, I'm only looking for you to give me a paragraph, but what if you gave me 2 paragraphs? Well, I notice things like that.
Alright, I just didn't know if we can put them all in the same lab or the same document or not.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. Yep, same document is good.
Alright, and also my other question is as far as the lab go, so we're just going to be using Microsoft Office for this class.
Pretty much, yeah. In terms of Microsoft Word is probably the only tool out of Microsoft Office that you're going to be using.
Okay, alright. Okay, just asking because
no, you're fine.
Because I'm thinking about buying another computer because I got send this one in, but I just was asking. What I need? I'm sorry if I'm asking this. I don't know when I should ask it, but who do I need to talk to about as far as getting the computer I want passed for this class or for this course?
So did you get your lunchbox already, or you're?
Yeah. I mean, I got it, but the reason why I'm going to be buying another computer because I got to send this one in because it's tripping.
Oh, okay.
It's been tripping for the last, I don't know, 5 months. I just haven't done it yet. So I'm just asking. I was just asking if I need to ask about if I get another computer, would it be compatible with this class?
Yeah. You can use, if you have another machine, you can use another machine, like a Windows machine. If you wanted to use a Windows machine, but if you want to talk to somebody about getting a second machine, a loaner maybe from Full Sail, what you could do is contact Student Success. And I forget what the exact email address and phone number is, but if you send me a message on FSO and say, hey, Miss Via, I just talked to you about the laptop situation. Can you send me the contact information for Student Success? Or you could just call Full Sail and say, hey, could I speak with Student Success? And just tell them what your situation is, and they'll direct you to the right people.
Okay, all right. And my other question is actually about the assignments. Actually, what assignment was it? I'm just thinking about. I think. Um, Give me 1 second, okay?
Yeah, there's a second lab where you have to read some documentation, and then you're going to do a lab write-up on the 20 CIS controls.
Yeah, that one. Um, does that actually? So we have to do a little research on that, or is that provided on Microsoft's website?
Yeah, we're giving you access directly to the information on Microsoft's website. It's just a matter of going through it and finding, for example, which CIS control do you think is the hardest for organizations to implement, and why? Why do you think that? After looking at all 20 of them or all 18 of them. So
Oh,
yeah.
definitely. All right. Well, I guess I will get started on it, and if I have any more questions, I can just email you and ask you.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. Send me a message on FSO about the laptop situation so I can send you the contact information. Unless you want to handle it a different way, but
I'm just gonna call Full. So.
Okay. Cool. All right. Well, thank you again, Nicholas. I appreciate you hanging out with me, and I appreciate all of your participation. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up and get this video ready for FSO so that other people can watch it. And I will see you next week, hopefully.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Take care. Thanks a lot.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.